In today's episode, Coworker walked off, came back, and now thinks she's the queen. Having the auto gratuity taken off. Two men from Michigan walk into my bar. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Coworker walked off, came back, and now thinks she's the queen. I know this doesn't really have anything to do with customers, but it's something that I'm 1000% sure wouldn't happen if I didn't work in a restaurant. I'm a host. My coworker, I'll call Jessica, works at night. I'm on mostly doubles, so typically I work from 9 and 2ish, then I come back 4 p.m. and work till 8 to 9. Jessica supposedly works 2 jobs and is always tired. So she sits on the wait bench where customers sit when they're waiting for a table and complains that she's tired and works 2 jobs. I cannot stand working with her. Every time you ask her to do anything, she sighs, rolls her eyes, and acts like it's this major inconvenience. Most managers tell her to stand up except one, John. Well, Monday night it was just her and I working, and she was sitting on the bench. It was like 7ish and I asked her to go bus since she had been sitting on the bench most of the night. I could have bussed, but she would have stayed sitting on the bench. I've already came back to customers standing by the host stand waiting, and she's just sitting there. So when I asked her to go bus, she just sat there. I said, Jessica? Then she said I don't have to take this and got up, went and clocked out and left. So everyone asked what happened and I told them. Nobody really cared, some laughed, if anything we were happy because she's lazy. Well, earlier that shift she asked if she could be first cut instead of me. I told her no. I'm not sure if that's why she walked off, but they still let me leave at 8, so I worked Tuesday day and night and Wednesday day. Wednesday night Jessica came walking in, clocked in and came to the host stand. We were like, I thought you quit. She said yeah. But John called and begged me to come back. Then all night she was making comments like you guys couldn't survive without me. John said you missed me. Wednesday she actually worked, so I thought maybe she changed, but yesterday it was the same sitting on the bench BS, except now she thinks she's something really special. I'm pretty sure her and John have something going on since he's the only manager that doesn't tell her to stand up and lets her just sit. She literally bats her eyelashes when talking to him, and it's weird. One time I forgot to do part of my situ work. My friends happened to be eating there, so I went and sat by them for a bit after I clocked out. John came up to me and said, you forgot to mop the bathroom. You might want to do it or Jessica will be pissed at you. I said I really don't care if Jessica is pissed at me. He said, well, I'll be pissed at you. How's that? Jessica never does all her situ work before closing, and I have to do it when I open. I know what I said wasn't great, but he should have just said, hey, you forgot to mop, instead of acting like I care if Jessica is mad at me. I don't. This just really pisses me off. There's 3 to 4 other hosts and we all think it's ridiculous that he begged her to come back. Now not only do we have a lazy coworker, but one that thinks she's the best thing. I called my friend that owns his own restaurant today just to vent. He said he could hire me as a day host, but it would be less hours than I have now. I'm tempted to take it. Since I'm the host that works the most at my current job, and me leaving would really screw them over, it'd be worth having less money for a little while, especially since Jessica can't work till 5 and everyone else is in school, so they wouldn't have anyone to work days. Sure, there's a staffing shortage, but begging someone that doesn't do much besides sit and claim they're tired to come back is stupid. We were better off on Tuesday night even though we were short-handed. Maybe I'm overreacting, but I'm the one stuck working with her most of the time. Having the auto gratuity taken off. On mobile, apologies for any format mistakes. We have a manager at our restaurant who isn't exactly the best. He's a nice guy, and whenever there's a small problem I'm fine going to him for it. However, I've learned never to go to him when a party is complaining about their gratuity. I've heard of him taking off the autograt for parties before whenever the customer has complained. I never saw it happen until it happened to me. I had a party of 12, they chose to reserve the party room, so instead of getting a section with separate tables I got that. They were my only table for 2 hours. It was a bunch of teenagers, an older sister, and the mother of the birthday girl. At the end of their dinner, I start handing out checks. It's really not that much since they didn't order a lot. Each teen's ticket had about $4 added to it, some less, and the mother, she added the birthday girl, and the older sister to her ticket, had $14 added to hers. Overall, the grat was $40-something. I leave for a tad to give them all time to get out their form of payment. I come back after maybe 2 minutes. The older sister calls me over and goes, "You'll make $2 an hour?" So I tell her yes, confused as to why she's asking. The mom then says, "So what's with this 20% tip added? I was gonna tip you, but to put like $4 on each of the kids' tickets and 14 on mine isn't right." So I give her the whole 4 parties over 6 blah 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 discussion, and she asks to see our manager. The manager that was there that night was the one known for taking off the autograt. He goes up to them, asks what the problem is. He even asks them if my service was good, and they said my service was good, and that they liked me lol. But that they would leave their own tip. So it gets taken off. All of the teens leave me nothing except for one who threw a wad of crumpled of bills in front of me, which felt super disrespectful, and the mom left me $10. So I left there with a little over $20. I recently saw him take off a $76 grat for another server, and they tipped her $26, and all he did to make up for it was take $25 off the bill and give it to the server. I brought it up in conversation with a different manager who's pretty nice, saying that we should have it on our menus, even though the host and manager tells parties about the grat when they reserve, and how we shouldn't take it off. And she told me that legally we have to take it off when they complain. BC, we're family owned, not corporate, we're a chain, sad face. 2 men from Michigan walk into my bar. So this happened last night, took me a bit to process before sharing. I bartend in a smaller town at a brewpub, literally the nicest place to eat out here and grab some craft beers. I just got over being out for a week sick, and my BF birthday is next month, so I have been concerned about money since I planned something really nice for him. I had these 2 guys from Michigan who stay at my bar my entire shift. They're out here for training, which is very common to see guys like this in my bar. Military or construction trainees and truckers are very common. We have a hotel right next door, and I'll see the same faces for a week or 2 solid, then not again for 6 months or a year. These guys to themselves until after they'd had a couple hours of drinking under their belt, ordered food, then they started getting chatty. They were fun to talk with, even if they kept trying to grab me or my server in the middle of our rush just to talk about TV shows or ice fishing. We finally slowed down, and I got to bullsh tea with them while breaking down my bar, anxious to get home and check on my sick dog, but still happy to chat and work. Mid-conversation, this guy pulled out his wallet and put a couple hundreds on the bar, so I assumed he was warming up to asking for his tab. I offered another round, and he confirmed they'd do one more. After grabbing 2 more beers and shots, we continued jawing while I wrapped up dishes. This guy then hands me $300 bills and tells me to put them all in my tip jar. I was absolutely floored. I had done nothing out of the ordinary for these 2, just been my normal chatty self, and foolishly asked if he was sure, holding tears at bay. He simply repeated himself and said, "We're from Michigan, buddy, so we're appreciative of your great service." Now I've never been there, so I'm unsure if he was alluding to the fact they're used to poor service, or they just appreciated me, and that's how they show gratitude, but regardless, I'm humbled and grateful for their generosity. That was the biggest tip I've ever been given to date, and it happened when I most needed it. I've been in the service industry for near 16 years now, and there are days when *T customers make me feel burned out. But I love feeding people and making delicious drinks over good conversation. Meeting and connecting with people is always an adventure, and it felt so amazing to be recognized by these guys. I just wish to share this lovely moment of kindness. It made my night and reminded me there are good folk everywhere. I'm grateful my job allows me to meet strangers from all walks of life, and I always try my best to give everyone the same experience, regardless whether they are race car drivers or construction workers. No matter what walk of life, we all have our story, and I love hearing them. I hope those two dudes passed their test today. Best of luck, Rick and Chris from Michigan. Y'all can hold your whiskey and have great fishing stories.